Hello, everyone. I'm Corey P. We have Rach.
Hey.
We have Razzo,
Hey,
Britt from the block,
what's
and
up?
this is Breaking Bread. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Y'all doing good?
Yep.
Amazing.
Y'all ready to break bread?
Yes,
Let's
let's
go.
do it.
So this show is about save, single, and sex.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So we're just gonna jump out. I mean, save, single, sex. What y'all think about that? Like that's a lot.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Who's gonna start?
So for me, I never. It's kind of easier for me because when I really got like for real living this lifestyle, I was married.
So you were already in there.
Yeah. So it was So
Yeah.
I was good. What
Well,
about
I
y'all?
can say it was both for me. So when I wasn't saved, I was just stuck, and I ain't caring nothing about this. But I had a point when I was saved and was single, and I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't know. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
tough.
It was tough.
It wasn't tough because I wanted to. It's just the fact that I was saved now and I couldn't. So it was just like, oh, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was the possibility of dating to somebody and talking to somebody that was totally different than when I was, not saved, and we could talk about it and all that stuff. But it's just like, what do you do? Where do you go? No
Yeah.
Netflix and chill. We're like, we got to go for ice cream.
Yeah, I think that is a question of like a lot of people because of what is put out into the world and, how people are romantically together. Like that is obviously on the table. And sex is something that God created, obviously, and it's not supposed to be bad, right? Like
Yeah.
the devil came in and perverted that after the fall and all that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why, we struggle with it so much. I feel like it's because it's inherently sex is good, but not within the confines of marriage, it's where we get into those sticky.
Yeah.
Well, so you made a great point. I want to kind of talk about that. Like, do you like from your perspective, have sex been taught properly in the
Absolutely.
church?
No.
And so that's because when you made the statement about how like what culture has shown young people like, okay, we believe that this is a part, but sometimes we think that like sex is bad and it's actually not bad.
Right.
It's awesome in
But really,
in
that's
marriage.
yeah.
Perverted though,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
the world, and I was going to say, sex is everywhere. Commercials,
Everywhere.
social
Yes.
media is like sex. That's all
Do
you
y'all,
see. So
do
if you
y'all
don't know about
remember
it,
like back when Burger King had those commercials of like the girls in the bikinis on the cars like eating the burger? Like,
Yeah.
why is that necessary?
for Burger King.
Yeah.
Because sex
Yeah.
sells.
It does.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
And everybody can relate one way or another to it.
right.
And it's that feel good thing. And
Yeah, I guess for me, the most people, I don't know if y'all know, but the only person I've ever been with is Alphonse.
No.
Yeah,
Oh.
and the only person that she ever been with is me.
That's
So,
so
so
sweet.
I'm not lying.
What?
I'm not lying. A lot of people don't
out.
believe because we met so early. We met like in the 9th grade, wherein most people kind of going through that stage of experiencing. And of course, it started early for me. Like I think about 6th, 7th grade. That's when I started really knowing, like you have some friends now, they start to try different,
Right.
little things, sexual activities. And so I did start early doing certain things, but I haven't had intercourse yet.
Right.
And so when I met her, she wanted to wait till she was married. She made that promise with God about being a virgin
Right.
and wanted to wait. So that was interesting hearing a young girl talk like that because I never spoke to anyone like that before. So for me, it was a little different because at that time, of course, I wasn't saved. You know what I mean? So I'm like, girl, nah, we got to do it. Like, we got to have.
I'm weak.
Yeah. But the crazy thing about it is that, of course, we didn't wait till marriage, but we only was with each other. And it worked out. And a lot of issues that I hear some of my friends talk about, we don't really deal because it's certain things we didn't have to go through.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
Okay, so for the teen that's listening who's saved already, because the teens that right way are on fire for God,
Yeah.
whatever. But they hear about sex, their friends are having sex, what do you tell them about waiting? Because of course it's easier said than done to just say
It's
wait.
definitely.
You're special. You
No,
hear it and all this
I
stuff.
think
What you
it's
do?
a lot of it is the connection that you end up making with somebody whenever you do those actions, and that's what creates a lot of heartache for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is that it's totally physical. Of course, in the moment it feels great, whatever, but
Sometimes.
I mean, yeah. So, but it's like then that's when you create those attachments, because I mean, you are like two
Right.
become one kind of thing in the wrong context,
Right.
and then you get all those problems that come with afterwards. Like it's like one of those like instant gratification things.
Yeah.
Like you're in the moment, you're like gratified. It's like, yeah, this is great, and then after that, it's like, okay, now what?
I love that statement you said, two become one. That's something that like you really got to understand is true. Like I've been in a situation, of course, where I knew that I probably was going to be a minister because everybody always talked to me and shared their issues. So I had a lot of female friends, and I noticed the change in them when they started having sex with individual like guys. So like I just take this one female who wasn't smoking weed, right, but the dude she was with was smoking weed on a regular basis. Now she like a weed head. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand the empowerment. I mean, the power. Like when you come together, man, like you really becoming one. So what's on that person is not on you. So
Right.
I always tell guys, like even now you see, it was very popular at one time that guys wanted girls who like girls. I don't, Lil Wayne had a song.
Yeah, really. All
so-
of the songs.
Right. So now that guy and now he sleeps with a girl who like girls. Well, guess what? That homosexual spirit, right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Now,
Man.
now those guys,
deep.
Yeah.
guys that you would never thought about, you're like, man, I ain't never think he would be like that.
That's deep.
Wow. Yeah, I
never
didn't
thought
even think about
it like
that.
And I mean, I knew football players, like guys who was like,
Big burly men.
yeah,
Like,
right, like,
Bro, total bros.
okay, but watch this. When you sleep with someone, what's on that
become
person?
struggling with
Y'all
that.
becoming one.
Yeah. Wow.
So the question is, what they need to ask, do you like this person that much to be
Right.
Yeah, to take whatever what's on
them to
them
come on
Right.
is not on you. And you know the crazy thing about it, they did studies, right? Even from a divorce standpoint, they can't find virgins that get divorces. Like they can't even find that. Like the study, like if you take two people who've been with, like they hardly get divorces. So even from that perspective, and they found out that it's a high level that you will be in poverty if you have have sex before marriage, because a lot of times you're dealing with different people and there's a greater chance you're gonna get pregnant. So all those things
Wow.
go into it. And that's why it's just safer even from a natural perspective. If you want to be safe to wait till marriage,
Yeah.
you got STDs, like
Yeah.
You got babies.
Asking yourself those questions, like, it's enough sometimes to get you to be like, oh, never mind, this is not really what I want. Like, because you think about it in the moment,
Just feels good.
right? Like things, emotions and stuff, all like that are, in the equation. And when we go off emotions, we know how that ends.
Right.
yeah.
So the saved person, like we have a lot of college students here who
Yeah.
are dating, or they find a guy or girl, and it just feels right. Like we're older now. Like, what do you tell them that even other than waiting, like you just said, come on one, but they may even be trying to get married or thinking about it, and they spend more time together. They're grown, so they get to come to the house. You get to come in.
Little
Can't do that at your mom. You see what I'm
spend the
saying?
night parties.
So that makes it a little harder. But nobody, I guess, like you said earlier, is sex taught the right way. Like what? Nobody taught us how to date in the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nobody told us how to maneuver through that. Like all we know is don't have sex. But he's sitting right here next to me, and it's like,
Right.
Yeah. I think too. One thing, what I realized, I don't, and I, this is just my opinion. I don't believe in boyfriend and girlfriend in high school.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm gonna get the
did
reason.
when I
and-
was in there, but
yeah, I
now
did
that
too.
I'm out.
Well, because the kids, my youth who's watching, they're gonna always say this. Well, you and your wife met course, me and Vonza met, but that almost messed us up because we started acting like we was really married without having the understanding what marriage is about, right?
Yeah.
Like she was saying, "Oh, you can't have no other girls talk. You can." That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, I can't. Or you can't have no free.
She can have other guys.
Nah.
Oh yeah, I didn't think.
But see, but after a certain point, I got to understand it. One of her best friends is a male, and me and him cool. And one of my best friends is a female, and they cool. But in the beginning, nah, you can't have that because we didn't have an understanding.
Right.
And so
it's like
that's
the maturity level too.
That's it. And so a lot of times you're not ready because you don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
How can you date somebody and you don't even know who you are?
Yeah, that's very true.
Because you change it on a regular basis. So I think that the great thing, and why do people want to put titles? What's the reason for titles, for boyfriend and girlfriend titles? Anybody?
I don't know, in high school, just because everybody doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody really wants a boyfriend or girlfriend. People want companionship as
Right.
they get older, or it just feels good to be wanted.
Yeah.
But
I think it all also boils down to what example you were shown
That's it. Yeah.
growing up. Like, whether your parents were married or divorced, how was their relationship? What, how did they talk to you about relationships? What was expected and stuff like that? That plays a lot into it as well, I believe.
Yeah. And I asked them, they said basically, of course, like you said, everybody's doing it like it's a boyfriend. I also watched this. This is the crazy thing. A lot of them said that it's also a way to have basically almost like control. Like you can't do this, like commitment. That's the word.
Yeah.
They feel like, okay, if that person is my boyfriend, then they committed to me, right? If this person is my girlfriend, they committed to me. But my response is, if they're committed to God, then they'll be doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway.
Right.
I don't gotta put a title
Right.
on it and to say they committed. They
Yeah.
should be doing it anyway.
Yeah, my mom used to tell me, "No, but you're not stuck with anybody till you're married." She said, don't be, trying to
be committed
to somebody
in high school.
in high
This
school.
just a second chapter. You
And
have
then-
a
I
whole
mean,
life to live.
Yeah.
When we were in high school, though, it didn't seem like that.
Yeah, it seemed like a
it
bigger
seemed
deal
like it
than
was,
it
it was a big deal. But once we're out, now that we're grown,
Man,
we're like, okay,
I'm
pump your
so
brakes.
glad I didn't end up with the person that I was with. I mean, honestly, nothing against that person, but I'm glad that things didn't turn out the way that I wanted them to then.
But who's standing up now in high school or college or whatever and saying, I'm not going to date. We could be friends, or, we can go to prom, we can go to the dance. But who's really standing up saying, I don't want to date. I got my whole life to live. Who knows what's going to happen next? Who's doing that? And who's done that? I mean, I'm sure somebody has, but it's not the popular thing to do.
No, it's not.
So it's like for those who are in the middle of it, they want to know how to navigate. Like,
That's a great example. So you don't see that example, so it's hard to do something when you can't see it.
Yeah.
So I asked Vonza, I said, Vonza, where did you get that concept that you want to wait till marriage? Of course, I went to church too. I used to hear it, but this the thing, I never saw someone do it. Right.
Yeah.
So you keep telling me to do something, and you didn't experience that.
Yeah.
And she said, well, my youth pastor did. He told this story, and I said, man, and his wife and all that, and that made me want to do it. And I think that's the thing too, in the church, a lot of times, and I think it is important, guys, to highlight people who went to that place and they live like they struggle and then now they made it. Like those are amazing stories.
Right.
But I think we need to find those stories, those kids that just doing the right thing
Right.
Yeah.
and celebrate them, because many times they sit in the back. I'm like, man, I'm doing right, but they ain't celebrating me because
Right.
they're like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be
That's
doing.
so true.
So I think
Yeah.
we need to start celebrating the ones who are also doing right as well. So,
Yeah.
that's my thing,
and they should be bold about it. Those who are doing the right thing,
Yeah.
there's nothing to be shamed about because you're a virgin or that you're waiting. You don't hear a lot of people stepping out saying, yes, I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to wait.
But I
until-
was ashamed though.
Really?
I was, because first of all, at a certain point, I did tell, in the ninth grade, everybody, well, I don't know about y'all experience, but majority of my friends, that's when going into 10th grade, they was having sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like majority of everybody was doing it. So at first I was cool saying I was a virgin. And then of course, people started thinking I was lying because I always dated. I always had female friends. So I was always dating, and I did experience certain things like at a young age. But like at a certain point, I was like, man, everybody doing it. I was kind of ashamed to keep saying I'm a virgin, you know what I mean? And then they kept saying, you lying, Corey, man. Boy, you ain't. I saw you with so and so. I saw you with, I saw this situation. I'm like, I guess I just started saying I'm not a virgin. So I was lying in high school. You know what I mean? Just to
Wow.
fit in. Yeah,
Yeah.
really. Like I ain't want to, admit that nah, I'm really waiting because Bonza was so important because like when it was a situation came, if we broke up or something, and this female, she's ready, and I'm like, okay, it's finna happen. I always thought like, no, I don't want to give this to this person.
It's nice.
I want to give this to Bonza, right?
Yeah.
So it always stopped me from going to that next level.
Right.
So it was, that was my experience.
Okay, so we talked about teens and like the young adults. So what about the men and women who were married or divorced now and they're single?
Yeah.
And they know the feeling. They know the,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want companionship. They want to do it again.
Yeah.
But they're saved. And they pray, they worship, they got an awesome relationship with God.
Right,
but
but
they want to have sex.
No, really.
I've never been married. I guess I can chime in now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you have been a little quiet.
I was just kind of waiting for my turn.
Okay.
But I'm saved. I'm single. And I've had sex before. I mean, let's just
Check
be
off
real.
the box.
I haven't always been saved.
Right.
So
Yeah.
sex was introduced in my life at a very early age. And so, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter before Christ. So after Christ, to be honest with you, it's happened since I got saved. But as my relationship with God started to develop, I started to see how detrimental that was. It was coming in the way because if you're building a relationship with Christ, you're reading the Word, and you are like distinctively going against what it says, it puts a wedge. You put a wedge between you and God. God never, pulls away from us.
Yeah.
We pull away from Him. And so, now I'm 29. I'll be 30 soon, and I'm celibate. And I'm not dating, but when I do. Well, I'm not in a relationship, but when I do,
Yeah.
wait, fast forward, hold on. But when I do meet a man, that's something I share, like right off the bat.
Right.
Hey, I'm not doing that because you have to. At this point, I've been down that road. I see where it leads me. Does it, does sex feel good? Yes. Is it like Rachel said? God created it, so it's meant for good, but it's detrimental if you do it at the wrong time.
Right.
And so at this point, what do? Renew my mind daily, because you have to, like Ross said, sex is everywhere. Music, movies, TV shows, billboards, everywhere. So sex is always being, and then you know what it feels
I was
like.
gonna say, and the added component of knowing.
And then let's say, I am dating someone and I have feelings for him, and I know, like, I want to express,
Right.
you have to set boundaries. I mean, period. You have to have boundaries. You have to know, okay, wait, maybe movie night at your house.
I was gonna ask you, what does dating look like for you now versus, back then, to being celibate now, knowing that, staying away from triggers or staying away from anything that might put you outside of the boundaries. What do you do? I mean,
well, to be honest, I meet. There's, different gentlemen that, I mean, we real talk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But, I actually have not really, I look for certain things. If a man doesn't set boundaries, I'm hesitant. If he's okay with, like,
whatever.
See, some men that I've experienced, they'll be like, I'll be celibate for you. And I've discovered that the man needs to be celibate for his own, with his own relationship with Christ. Because if I'm weak and, you have nothing to stand on, you're not standing on the Word, you're not standing on your relationship with Christ, you're going to fall. And I'm going to fall with you. We're going to fall together,
Right.
But sex has not been taught the right way. I mean, and all we've been taught is don't do it. I feel like that if it was taught more and, like, address the elephant in the room and be open and say, yes, this is sex, this is about, and then you really talking about that, you become one, like the specialness of, what I'm saying? For like, I was never taught that.
You don't have to find things out for yourself.
I just knew that, mama and daddy did, or, I didn't know. Like, I feel like that if we teach kids, or some adults don't even know, and just really tell them what it is. Like, stop being scared of sex. Like,
have the conversation.
Have the conversation.
You got to, like, because even with me, even though I only been with one person, I did struggle with lust.
Yeah.
I was addicted to porn like crazy because it was introduced to me at a young age. And so the thing about it, that was a challenge for me. You know what I mean? And because I did have certain experiences, like that still stayed in your mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Who
Certain
do you
things.
talk to about that though?
For a long time I didn't talk to no one, because porn was something that, especially like with men, I can't speak for women, but for men it was very normal. Like it was, I'm in a dorm room, I can walk in and a guy watching porn. That wasn't weird.
It wasn't secret.
Like, yeah, it wasn't like,
But-
yeah, it wasn't like I'm hiding it. Like, it's just pouring on, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it was like, but like
can
a
imagine.
joke.
Going on. Did you?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But it was like sometimes even a joke, like, oh, look at that crazy. You know what I mean? It was almost
Right.
just like entertainment, honestly.
Oh, wow.
But not realize mentally what it's doing to you, right? You know what I'm saying? At that place where, because when you have sex, if you don't know anything about it, you only can go by what you saw.
Right.
So
Yeah.
now you look to do those things. You know what I mean? And that's where I believe where a lot of men want multiple women, because that's what you normally might see in porn. So I think like having that conversation was hard, but when Pastor V talked about it one time, his struggles, it made it easier, right?
Yeah.
And then with the challenging part was Vonza was very still sheltered. So like, it's weird. And I had a conversation. I was like, "You never seen porn before?" She was like, "Nah." I'm like, what? like she never. So it was challenging talking with her, because I don't think she understood
what you were going
my struggle, right? And so she thought it was just like, just stop doing it type of thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been doing
was
this
hard.
since a little kid. Like, it's hard
Right.
to stop. So to find someone, but me and her started having those conversations, it became easier. And Pastor V definitely was that person, because he talked about it. And so that's why I always share, even though I might haven't went through everything someone, but I always share my experiences, because I want people to know that, man, if you need to talk to somebody about something, I'm that person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Talk about it. But you got to have that though. You need someone, accountability partner,
Sure.
to help you in that area. You about to say something, Rachel?
Yeah, I was saying like people teaching themselves about things. Like, you think about kids find out about something, they go to school and they start talking about it, and it could be anything.
Yeah.
But if we're not talking about it, in a biblical setting, and teaching them, we teach them about everything else in the church. Why not add that into it? Because it is a part of life that they're going to be hit with at an early age.
Yeah.
And so if you go ahead and intercept that, and it's similar to what my parents did. My mom was a social worker, so she saw kids who went through things like sexual abuse and like that kind of stuff on a daily basis, and so she wanted me and my sisters to be informed about what things were, our bodies and stuff like that, and talk about things before we were introduced to that in a different setting, because it was important for her, for us to know what was right and what was wrong when it came to our bodies.
Yeah.
And so, but a lot of kids are finding that out on their own. They go
Porn
into
been teaching them.
Yeah.
or they go into the
YouTube,
bathroom with
right.
a kid of the opposite sex, and they're like, look at mine, look at yours, kind of thing. And it's like, that's not how they should be learning about that.
I agree.
Crazy.
So if we talk about it here, in this kind of setting, it helps people. And,
Definitely.
teach them, and then that way they know, so they're not trying to figure it out, and then they find out, other things that they probably don't need to know.
Right. So, Pastor Corey,
Yeah.
what does the Bible say about sex?
I mean, clearly. I mean, it lets you know that you should wait, to be married. I think, it's so many scriptures that talks about, sex, from Matthew 5:28, but it says but I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with a lustful intent have already committed adultery with his heart. So we know that it went past more than just the act. It's also the thought, right? And so that's why I love what
Brittany said
about renewing your mind, because come on, a thought. That's where it starts. So you got to renew your mind daily. You know what I mean? This is not just something you got to do it on a regular basis. And, First Corinthians tell us, but because of temptation to sexual morality, each man shall have his own wife, and each woman shall have their own husband. So we see in that moment that, that you should be with one person. Even from a biblical perspective, with in the beginning, Adam have Eve, you know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that it's important to really be with one person, man. And if you can wait to marriage. But if you have made that mistake, then guess what? Renew your mind
Yeah.
Start over.
and start over. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I love about God. Like,
It doesn't make you any less of
Yeah.
anything if you've already done that and now you're deciding from here on that you don't want
Yeah.
to anymore.
and then don't let no one shame you. I hate that,
no.
man. Like, you try to shame people because they're past or whatever. But, and especially the female, from the men perspective, it's always, oh, boy, come on, man. I'm going
Yeah.
to be real. That's what it was taught, man. Go get as many women you can. Knock them down, right? That's the mindset. Like, that's the conversation,
Yeah.
right? It's just being real. But when a female did it, then it's like, nah, man. Even when she started doing better, like living that lifestyle, man, you remember what she used to do?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
men don't get that.
No, yeah.
Now, you know what I'm saying? The man, even when he he's definitely like, he
Yeah.
the man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta be mindful with having that type of thinking.
Right.
And then I have people like friends that be like, well, how you know if you wait till you married, what if they not good? You know what I'm saying? All this stuff. But I'm just like, God's way is so great
Right.
that if you don't do it, he say don't do it before you marry.
Yeah.
Man, and you wait and marry the man or the woman that you're supposed to be with, you ain't gonna have nothing to compare to. And it's
Right.
gonna be right.
That's what I was
But
going to
even
say.
if you like, this is how I feel, because I've had that conversation with people. Now, men say stupid stuff like,
They do.
how you test drive a car, so
Yeah.
I'm not a car, sir.
No, but this is how I feel, right?
You don't put it down
Okay.
on me.
I told God I'ma wait,
Yeah.
and so it's not easy. Let's just be real. It's not.
It's not.
I've experienced it. You taste the forbidden fruit. I can't even say it. Forbidden fruit. No, but seriously, it's not easy, but
Right.
it's worth it. And so I'm gonna do my part, and I'm gonna follow the word, and I'm gonna
Right.
trust that
God got you.
God got me. Yeah,
Right.
He ain't gonna play me. I did all this.
Yeah. And I guess
No, but seriously though,
Anyone who is trying to get you to go against the word of God is
need
not
to be
the
with
person
them
that's
anyway.
for
That's
you.
it.
right?
Even if you have made mistakes and even if you fall, because we all do sometimes, like if that person is constantly enticing you to go against one, what you want to do, and two, what God wants you to do, just let it go.
And this is crazy. I think for a person to make that statement, they don't have an understanding of what sex is. First of all, because and we being real, right? So the reason why they saying that, okay, I guess from a man perspective, I don't know. I can't speak from a woman's perspective, but I guess the mood or the feeling you or whatever get. This the thing, like if it's something you like, a position or whatever that is, you should be able to teach your partner. You should have that conversation. And I always hear people say, "Oh, they should know." What? But they should just know. Man, no. A lot of times, that person who they was with, they did it multiple times, so they was able to get comfortable. They start figuring what that person like. So the thing about it is, when you do that, guess what? Y'all will learn each other.
Right.
You will learn what that person like. That person will learn what you like, and it'll be amazing because guess what? You doing it God's way. And anytime you do it God's way, He got to honor that.
Right.
I think
He got to honor it.
it's really important to also remember how God views marriage,
Yeah.
and that he relates himself in a marriage
us,
relationship to us. It's his favorite relationship,
Right.
and so why wouldn't he put his best, the best he has, the most energy, I guess if you could say, like his best work is in that relationship. And so why would we not expect the best to come out of that?
Right.
So with people saying, oh, how are you going to know for sure, all that kind of stuff. It's like when you are with the person that God wants you to be with and God has set aside for you, like he's like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like this is what it's going to be. And so it's going to be the best.
That's it.
I ain't think about it like that when she said about how God do the church. He said he come back with a spot without a spot or wrinkle.
Yeah.
That's why y'all need to be virgins. No spots or wrinkles, kids.
Oh, don't.
Tragic.
But I agree, man. I think this is a great conversation. I think we're gonna need. I think getting some feedback, some questions from people gonna be
Let's
interested.
talk about it.
Yeah, I think
What do
that's
you
gonna be.
wanna know?
Yeah, like so. Send us things. We can do a part 2 to this because I think
I think we should. When
Yeah.
you were talking about pornography,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that we should hit
Yeah.
on too.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like people want to know why not watch it or what
Yeah.
it do is watch
Yeah,
it. I'm not doing it.
Right,
Yeah.
because actually what's funny is
Open a
that's
whole
how I
can of
got
worms.
saved. Because I was addicted to it too. So everything that you're saying, people telling me just stop. I'm like,
That's
if I
not-
could, I would.
Yeah.
It's just like anything else.
It is like
Yeah.
the thing about it is, I think
we need to
have
like
a
put a
whole
bookmark in that and have a whole
bookmark.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it definitely it puts you in a position to. I mean, it's a challenge. When you're addicted to it,
Yeah.
When you're addicted to anything.
yeah,
especially
addiction. Yeah, that changes, but it affect your relationships too,
Absolutely.
especially in that area. You know what I'm
100%.
saying? So I think it's like we definitely got to have those conversations.
we do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely need to get questions and answer them for whoever's listening. It'll be kept anonymous because I know that some people aren't comfortable with sharing things like that.
Yeah.
But let's
totally
talk about
respect
it.
it. But we want
hey,
to talk about it.
it's life.
If you have a question, we're the ones who we can answer it for you, and we'll give you the real,
No
deal.
judgment zone.
I'm telling you, real.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's what's up, everybody. Well, this is our episode of Save, Single, and Sex. If you have any questions, make sure you send that to us,
Hit
and
us
maybe
up.
we'll have a part 2 of it. I
We
truly
will.
enjoyed this. Y'all enjoyed the conversation?
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Catch us next time. This is Breaking Bread.
Oh, yeah.